की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरण मोहन जू की जय। नित्य लप विष्टम विष्णुपार शत रशत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नित्य लप विष्टम विष्णुपार अष्टतर शत शिशिमार श्री भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्य लप विष्टम विष्णुपार अष्टतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिलपविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतरशतश्मर भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नितिलपविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतरशतश्मर भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिलपविष्ट महाभागवत श्री गोरक्षरस बाबाजी महाराज की जय। नितिलपविष्ट श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नितिलपविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपनु गौरिय गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शार गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदत्त गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाय की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री रस-पाñcādhyayī की जय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। ॐ विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीश्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणीति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तरभक्ताय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सार्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृदन्तस्थो यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतम्। नष्टप्रयेष्ववद्रेषु नित्यं भागवते वया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय राधे त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षय क्षिप्ताष्टकामातितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। भज श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dandavat pranams Ganga Mataji, Gargaraj ji, Raseshwari Mataji, Madhavi Didi, and Sudevi Didi. Dandavat pranams to all of you. Okay. So I'm just going to read, instead of reading all those verses, I'm just going to read this very short recap. While dancing with the all-attractive Lord, the gopis being induced by the Lord's Leela Shakti, So hearing the gopis' plea, the self-satisfied Krishna reciprocated with them by initiating the rasa dance. While dancing with the all-attractive Lord, the gopis, being induced by the Lord's Leela Shakti, his pastime potency, felt very proud for having received such a special attention from Krishna. Noticing this, Krishna immediately disappeared just to intensify their love. Overwhelmed by feelings of separation from Krishna, the gopis searched for him all over the forest. So they searched all over the forest in the night, like mad persons. With their minds fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, they looked for him in various forests, asking moving and non-moving entities about Krishna's whereabouts. They enacted his various pastimes in order to mitigate their distress to some extent. As they were wandering, the gopis saw Lord Krishna's footprints along with Srimati Radharani's. So, although it didn't say Radharani because many of the gopis didn't know, only the gopis in Radharani's group knew that it was. Anyways, so O Parikshit, while performing the pastimes and again inquiring from the trees and creepers of Vrindavan, the Vraj Devis arrived at a place in the forest where they noticed the footprints of Bhagavan Śrī Kṛṣṇa, the Supersoul. After seeing the footprints, the gopi said, "These footprints certainly belong to the crest jewel of the benevolent persons, Nanda Nandan Shri Shyam Sundar, because the marks of the flag, lotus, thunderbolt, elephant goad, and barley corn are clearly visible." So that's where we read up to yesterday. One second, I just need to respond to this. Okay. Taistai padaistat padavim anvichantya grato bala vadva padai suprakrit vadva padai suprapriktani vilokyarta samabruvan. The Vrajasundaris continued searching for their beloved Śrī Kṛṣṇa, following his footprints, and noticing one young bride's footprints intermingled with his. They became very disturbed and talked among themselves. Śrīla Swāmīpad's Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. Supriktani means intermixed. Śrīla Jīva Gosvāmīpad's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. Moving ahead in their search for Śrī Kṛṣṇa, the gopis followed his footprints, which were decorated with a flag and other emblems. Tais tai, those very ones, is repeated 2 times, indicating the gopis' astonishment at seeing so many footprints, which were spread out over a vast area. Sometimes they were clearly visible, and in other places they were half covered by grass. Moving forward, they noticed the footprints of a young maiden alongside Śrī Kṛṣṇa's footprints. Finally, they reached a place where they could no longer see her footprints, and they thought, Krishna has lifted this young gopi on his shoulder and walked away. Abala means weak. The gopis have been called abala, or weak, having become exhausted and feeble due to their separation from Krishna and their tiring search for him. Vadhu means young bride. The purpose of using the word Vadhu is to establish Sri Radha as extremely fortunate and as being Sri Krishna's dearmost beloved. Srila Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. Supriktani. Sri Krishna's footprints were intermingled with Sri Radha's. Verse 27. Kasya padani chaitani yataya nandasununa anksa nyasta prakoshtaya kareno karinayata. Oh, which fortunate Vraj Sundari's footprints are these? Just as a she-elephant walks with her beloved, the king of elephants, she is strolling along with Nanda Nandan Sham Sundar, resting her arm on his shoulder. Just as a she-elephant walks with her beloved, the king of elephants, she is strolling along with Nanda Nandan Sham Sundar, resting her arm on his shoulder. Srila Śrīdhara Swamipad's Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. Śrī Kṛṣṇa has placed her arm on his shoulder. Karena means she elephant. Karena venu ranjitam gati karendra ganjitam. No, that's different. That's Karena venu ranjitam. That means his fingers are in this flute. Srila Jīva Gosvāmī Pad's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. The gopis who were assembled there spoke together. Which beautiful maiden's footprints are these? The question may arise. How did the gopis come to know that Śrī Kṛṣṇa went off with one lovely damsel? The answer is that the footprints which the gopis observed were smaller in size. Their impression in the soil was not deep due to her being very lightweight. Seeing these signs, they concluded that Śrī Kṛṣṇa had walked away with one loving maiden. These footprints belong to a fair girl who has gone off with Nanda Nandan. This sentence may seem to be the statement of the general gopis, but it should be understood as the joking remark of Sri Radha's Swapaksha Sakis. As being quite familiar with Sri Radha's footprints, they could recognize them simply by glancing at them. I wonder who it is. Śrī Kṛṣṇa had placed the arm of that Ramani firmly on his shoulder for some special enjoyment of Ras. And also, it was nighttime. So she was stumbling along, unable to walk properly, and he wanted to give her support. Furthermore, he wanted to take her away by force to another place. Śrī Kṛṣṇa's love for this maiden, greater than for the others, is confirmed by this action. There is an example for this. Just as a lusty, intoxicated elephant roams around with the she-elephant from forest to forest, Śrī Kṛṣṇa also is controlled by the love of this maiden and is roaming about the forests with her. Srila Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. Anksa nyasta prakoshtaya, on whose shoulder Nanda Nandan has placed his left arm. Oh, now into the very, very famous verse. Yeah, this is a good verse to memorize if you don't know it already. Anayaradita nunam Bhagavan Haririshvara Yano Vihaya Govinda Pritoyam Anayadraha. I think this is the first mention of Sri Radha. Anayaradito nunam. This fortunate Ramani has certainly worshipped Bhagavan Sri Hari perfectly and has fully satisfied him. Otherwise, why has our Pran Priyatama Sri Govinda, who is the love of our life, abandoned all of us and taken only her to a secluded place. Śrīla Śrīdhara Swamipad's Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. There might be other places where Radharani was mentioned before. Anyways, this is the gestation of her in Srimad Bhagavatam in the beginning. Raha, secluded place. Śrīla Jīva Gosvāmipad's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. Lalita and other Swapaksha Sakis, Radha's most intimate companions, recognized her footprints, but remained silent only out of sagacity. What's sagacity mean? Sagacity. The quality of being sagacious. Intelligent, understanding, judgment. Okay. Chandravali and the other Vipaksha gopis, being gravely distressed, were unable to speak. Tatastha are neutral gopis who find their happiness in serving Krishna according to their mood, did not pay much attention to the fact that there were some maidens' footprints with Śrī Kṛṣṇa's. As they were not attached to whether Krishna was meeting Radha or Chandravali, they remained silent. The friendly Suhrit Paksha gopis, who neither obstructs the meeting of Radha and Krishna, nor make any special endeavor for their meeting, but still are happy in their union, were the first ones to speak Anaya by her. This Ramani has certainly controlled Bhagavan Sri Hari and made him happy by her special worship. The word nunang denotes surmising and certainly. Hari is he who takes away all miseries. Bhagavan refers to Sri Narayan. Ishvara is he who can fulfill the deepest desires of his devotees and who is independent. Anayaradito. Śrī Kṛṣṇa, roaming with this Ramani who worships him, is controlled by her, not by us. Radhayati. Radha, who performs worship. The name Radha comes from aradhana, to worship. Her name has manifested in this way. With great effort, Sri Shukadev was trying to hide Sri Radha's name in his heart, but by her mercy, her name issued forth from his mouth. The reason for this is that he realized the meaning of the name Govinda, he who enjoys Radha's senses and who is controlled by her. Wow. So in this dense forest, he has abandoned Vihaya, us, na, and gone off with her alone to enjoy in a private place, Raha, which is inaccessible to us. Or, Yanna, Radha became angry and left the Ras, so Krishna has gone with her to a secluded spot, leaving all of us behind. Wow, that's a beautiful meaning of Govinda, though. Govinda means he who enjoys Radha's senses and who is controlled by her. Isn't that amazing? Okay, Srila Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. The Suhrit Paksha gopis recognize that Ramani's footprints as belonging to Sri Vrishabhanu Nandini. Of this they were assured in their hearts. But because there was a crowd of all kinds of gopis, they acted as if they did not know. Understanding the identity of that Ramani, the Suhrit Paksha gopis indirectly pronounced her name and blissfully expressed the glories of her fortune in this verse. Okay, so Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur says that they did, the Suhrit Paksha gopis did recognize who it was. Anayava nunam. The word nunang means certainly. The maiden who went with Śrī Kṛṣṇa has certainly worshipped Śrī Narayan, Bhagavan, who can fulfill the deepest desires of his devotees, Ishvar, and who takes away all miseries, Hari. And by her worship, Aradita, she has controlled him. But we were not able to do that. So Sri Govinda has abandoned us, Yanno Vihaya, and gone with her to the secluded forest. Radhayati iti Radha. The use of the verbal root rad denotes the name of this Ramani as Radha. Sri Shukadev Goswami earnestly endeavored to keep Sri Radha's name a secret, but by her mercy, it spontaneously emerged from his moon-like mouth, like the rumbling of a kettle drum announcing her vast good fortune. O Gopīs, you uselessly delude yourselves in thinking you are equal to that great Ramani. But this is not logical, because certainly Sri Radha has won Sri Hari. Bhagavan, he who is handsome and passionate and who can establish his own glories. Ishvara, who is able to cheat you. So Sri Govinda has abandoned all of us and has lovingly taken that Ramani to a secluded Nikunja to enjoy her senses. Sri Ujjvala Nilamani also describes the emblems on Sri Radha's soles. Left sole. A barley corn is below the big toe. Under that is the disc. Under that is the umbrella. And under that is a bracelet. Starting at the juncture of her large and second toes is a vertical line that extends down to the middle of her sole. A lotus is under the middle toe, under which is a flag and an insignia. A flag with an insignia. Okay, that's a distinguishing badge emblem. So with an emblem. And under that is a creeper with a flower. Under the small toe is a goad, and on the heel is a half moon. In total, there are 11 symbols. Then the right sole has a conch is under the big toe. Under that is a club. Under the small toe is an altar. Under that, an earring. And under that, a scepter. What's a scepter? An ornamented staff carried by rulers on ceremonial occasions as a symbol of sovereignty. Okay. A mountain is below the small and middle toes. Under that is a chariot, and a fish is on the heel. This makes a total of 8 symbols on the right sole. Altogether, there are 19 symbols. You wanted to say this verse one more time? We're going to say it together. Anayaradito nunam Bhagavan Haririshvara Yanno Vihaya Govinda Prito Yam Anayadraha. Okay, now I'll go on to the next verse. Danya aho ami alyo Govindang Grabjare Nava Yan Brahmesho Rama Devi Dadur Murdhna Ghanutaye. Some Vrajasundari said, O beloved Sakis, the dust that Govinda touches with his lotus feet becomes blissful and attains all fortune. Even Brahma, Shiva, and Rama Devi take this dust on their heads to remove their sufferings and all inauspiciousness. Śrīla Śrīdhara Swamipad's Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. O Sakis, the dust of Govinda's lotus feet is very blessed, because Brahma and others smear this dust on their heads. So we also can anoint ourselves with this foot dust and become eligible to attain Krishna. Śrīla Jīva Goswami Pad's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. The Tatastha Paksha Sakis exclaimed, Dhanya, after seeing Śrī Krishna's footprints. Hey Sakis, this dust has become vastly auspicious by the touch of Govinda's lotus feet. They were all suffering from the same distress, so almost all of them had the same mood, and they all spoke in unison. This is extremely astonishing. The word dadhu, took, is in the past tense to express that surely this dust has been honored by Brahma, Shiva, and Rama Devi, who smeared it on their heads with devotion to dispel the misery of separation and other sufferings. Rama Devi is the topmost of these three, and Shiva is superior to Brahma. However, We could not get the touch of his lotus feet due to some offense, or being distressed in separation. The reason for this dust being blessed is that it has attained the touch of Govinda's lotus feet. Therefore, Brahma and others put it on their heads and become fortunate. Actually, this kind of glorification of Krishna's foot dust manifests in the gopis by the effect of their profound prema. The power of prema can make even an insignificant object appear praiseworthy. When something is truly glorious, then what can one say about it? The greater the love, the more dear and praiseworthy something becomes. An example of this is Bharat Maharaja's love for the baby deer as told in Srimad Bhagavatam 5.8.23, when he said, "What austerities has this earth performed that is decorated with the tender footprints of this gentle baby deer, and has thus become the place where the Brahmins perform fire sacrifices?" In this verse, the saintly King Bharat, who is nursing the baby deer, is glorifying the touch of that animal's feet due to his love for it. But in truth, that animal had no potency to influence the fortune of the earth. Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura's Sārārtha Darśinī. The Tatastha Paksha Gopis, after seeing Shri Krishna's footprints, but not giving any heed to the other person's footprints alongside his, as told in the previous verse, they talked among themselves. "O Sakis, all this dust is blessed by receiving the touch of Shri Krishna's lotus feet. Therefore, Brahma and other demigods as well take this dust on their heads to get relief from their misery of separation." Shri Krishna's cowherd friends have witnessed that when Krishna returns from the woods to the cowshed, Brahma and other demigods descend from Swarga to the forest grounds, meet him on the path, and offer prayers glorifying Shri Krishna's lotus feet. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 35, so after this Rāsa-pañcādhyayī, verse 22. Vandyamana charana pativridhai. All the demigods stand on the side of the path and worship the dust of Krishna's lotus feet with different prayers. Brahma and others have attained Shri Krishna by taking this dust on their heads with devotion. But due to our shyness, we still have not been successful in this. So our anguish from separation has not been alleviated. Come, we will smear ourselves with this dust, and we will attain Shri Krishna. Thus our agha, our pain from separation, will be dispelled. Tasya amunina kshobham korvantuchai padaniyat yaika pahritya gopinam raho bhunkte chutadharam. Some other gopis said, "O Sakhi, what you say is all right. But we are observing the raised footprints of some gopi that are creating a commotion in our hearts. This is because the Sakhi who has taken Shri Krishna to a secluded place has snatched the nectar of his lips from us, which is the essence of all that we possess, and is drinking it all by herself." Srila Śrīdhara Swamipad's Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. In the present verse, Tasya, her, some other cowherd damsels said, "This Ramani has stolen the entire wealth of all the gopis and is enjoying it all alone in a secluded place. If this maiden's footprints were not alongside Shri Krishna's, we would not be aggrieved. But since they are mixed with his, we are feeling extreme pain." Srila Jīva Gosvāmī Pad's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. This verse Tasya is spoken by the Vipaksha Gopis, the Vraj Devis of the opposite party, Chandravali and her friends. The footprints of this Ramani are creating extreme pain and agitation in our hearts because she has stolen away Shri Krishna, who is the entire wealth of our lives, and is enjoying that nectar of his lips in a secluded place all by herself. That enchantress has looted our treasure. Otherwise, Krishna would have not abandoned us in this remote forest and become absorbed in dallying privately with it. In some places, dhanam, riches, is seen instead of raho, and seclusion. But Śrīdhara Swamipad has given the meaning of dhanam as sarvasva, one's entire property. Achyuta. The suggested meaning of this name is the nectar of the lips of that Achyuta who never abandons this Ramani to go anywhere else. Srila Viśvanātha Charli Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. The Sakis of the opposite party spoke this verse beginning with Tasya. The footprints of this Ramani seen near Śrī Kṛṣṇa's footprints are giving extreme pain to our hearts because the nectar of Achyuta's lips is our treasure. It is meant for all of us, but this Ramani is enjoying it all by herself. This lusty maiden is an enchantress. She has brought Krishna under her control by some illusory power and has taken him away to a remote place where she is relishing the nectar of his lips. Because of this, Krishna has abandoned all of us maidens who are filled with genuine love for him. One second, let me just read the comments. It's been a while. Haribo Indira Mataji Dandavat Pranam, Pajuna Prabhu, Mantra Murti Mataji, Nutan Berry, Hare Krishna. Nalakshante padanyatra tasyanunam trinankurai kidyat sujatangri talam uninye preyasim priya. O Sakis, look, that Gopis' footprints are not seen over here. It seems that our dearmost Shyam Sundar must have realized the sharp grass is prickling the tender souls of my beloved. So he must have surely lifted her up on his shoulder. Śrīla Swamipad's Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. These gopis could no longer see that Ramani's footprints. They kept searching for Krishna's foot dust, and seeing only Krishna's footprints now, they became extremely aggrieved. This has been told in the 3 verses starting with Nalakshante. It seems to indicate that Krishna was concerned that the tender souls of that lady love should not be pricked by sharp, dry grass, and he thus lifted her up on his shoulder. Srila Jīva Gosvāmīpad's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. Here the footprints of that Ramani are not visible anymore because her beloved Krishna has lifted her on his shoulder. This statement spoken by the Vipaksha Gopis is full of envy. Śrīdhara Swamipad has given the meaning of this word, unnayan, as climbing on the shoulder. The gopis of the opposite party were smoldering in the fire of envy when they no longer saw that Ramani's footprints alongside Krishna's. This could be the statement of the Sakis also, because thinking this Ramani to be the object of Krishna's love, they felt that beloved Krishna has lifted his sweetheart on his shoulder. Sorry. So they felt that the beloved Krishna has lifted his sweetheart on his shoulder, as her tender souls would be hurt by the sharp grass. If we see it in this way, then the word unnayana will be defined as using both his hands to place her on his shoulder. Srila Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. O Sakis afflicted with the dreadful disease of envy, there is no need to be aggrieved, since that Ramani's footprints are not seen here anymore. One Priya Saki spoke this verse, Nalakshante, to her friends, who became filled with bliss and who looked at each other with crooked smiles. Rejoicing that those other footprints were not there, they started prattling and imagining, indicated by nunam, certainly, in other words. Uninye preyasim. Certainly, Krishna has lifted his beloved with both his arms and embraced her to his chest. This dear maiden is obviously the exclusive object of Krishna's love, because he became apprehensive that her tender soles would be hurt by the sharp grass, and he could not tolerate that she would feel any pain in walking. Thus, the Swapaksha Sakis became elated for two reasons. One, observing Radhika's great fortune, and two, seeing the unhappiness of the Vipaksha Sakis. Verse 32. Iman adikamagnani padani vahato vadum gopa pashyata krishnasya bharakrantasya kamina atravaropita kanta pushpaheto. As all the gopis moved ahead, one of them said, "O Sakis, look! Here Krishna's footprints are sunk deeper in the sand. Certainly that lusty fellow has lifted his beloved on his shoulder, and with her weight, his feet left a deeper impression." Śrīla Jīva Gosvāmī's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. This verse, starting with Imani, is spoken by the Vipaksha gopis with envy. "Oh gopis, don't be sad. Look, look. That impassioned Krishna picked up his beloved on his shoulder and became overburdened by her weight, so his footprints are deeper in the ground." Gopya. "Oh gopis." This address infers that they are clever enough to correctly interpret all the signs. It is obvious that passion is the cause behind Śrī Krishna's lifting that Ramani. Otherwise, how can that very tender Sham Sundar pick her up? He is not Vidagdha Shiromani. Clearly, he is not the crest jewel of expert lovers, as he has abandoned all of us and has lifted up that lusty girl instead. Kamina. Krishna is under the grip of amorous desire, but he is not Prem Ras Vidagdha. He is not expert in relishing the flavors of love. The Saki said, Over here, Mahatma, meaning Vidagdha Shiromani Krishna, has put down his beloved on the ground in order to pick flowers." The line starting with Atravaropita is not seen in some books, therefore it has not been considered as a separate verse. Okay. Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. "Oh Sakis, you are speaking without thinking. Don't feel sad. Why are you speaking like that? Not seeing the footprints of that Ramani is giving us more pain than seeing them along with Krishna's. We were distressed by seeing the footprints of that enchantress, but now, not seeing them, we are feeling worse, because obviously our Prananath has lifted her on his shoulder to protect her soles from the sharp grass." After determining the reason for not seeing the footprints, the gopis of the rival party said, "Imani. Here Krishna's footprints have sunk deeper in the soil." Vadhu, bride. She is not married to Krishna, but in this lonely forest, he treated this dear one like his young bride. He was overburdened with her weight, and these deep footprints are the evidence. Just as materialistic people roam around in the world carrying the weight of their wives and children, in the same way, Krishna is roaming here, carrying this sweetheart as his bride. Krishna is simply lusty and is not a proper lover, because he has abandoned all of us damsels who are filled with true love for him. Because he is caught in the jaws of lust, he is carrying his bride around. Otherwise, how could Krishna, the very delicate son of the king of Vraj, manage to lift that gopi? Atra, in this place. The Saki said, "At this place, Krishna put down his beloved from his embrace. According to them, he is Mahatma, which is Mahe plus Atma. are Vidagdha Shiromani. Mahe means he who loves decorating the hair of his beloved, and Atma means heart. One whose heart is absorbed in decorating the hair of his beloved is Mahatma. He put down his beloved under the Ashoka tree, thinking, by the touch of her feet, the tree will blossom with profuse flowers, and I will pluck those flowers and decorate my sweetheart. With this thought, Krishna placed his beloved on the ground and gathered flowers for decorating her. So he is Mahatma, very intelligent. Wow. Verse 33. Hare Krishna, Raj Bhuvan Yadav ji. Atra prasuna vachaya priyarthe priyasa krita prapadakramana ete pashyata sakale pade. Oh Sakis, look, look! That expert lover, Sham Sundar, puts his beloved down in this place and, standing on his tiptoes, gathered flowers to decorate her. We can see from the footprints that only the front part of his feet have left an impression in the ground, and the heels are nowhere to be seen. Śrīla Swāmīpad's Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. Prapadakramana. The impression made in the ground from standing on the front part of the feet. Just see, the footprints are not complete here. Śrīla Jīva Gosvāmīpad's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. Some other Sakis spoke this verse, Atra Prasuna. Priyasa, Krishna, who is boundless love, has picked flowers at this place to decorate his beloved. How do you know that the lover Krishna has picked flowers? This is indicated by prapadakramana, meaning that only the front part of his feet have left marks on the ground. These same marks are seen under many other trees. These same marks are seen under many trees. The Vishnu Puran states, certainly, at this place, Sri Damodar has picked many flowers. Only the toes of that Mahatma have left impressions in the ground. So many toe marks are seen here. Śrīla Viśvanātha Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. Krishna picked flowers from this Ashoka tree for his beloved, so there were no blossoms seen on these branches. To reach flowers on the higher branches, he stood on his tiptoes. Thus, his footprints were incomplete. Kesha prasadhanam tvatra kaminya kamina kritam tani chuda yata kantam upavishtam iha dhruvam. Look, certainly this expert lover Krishna sat down here and decorated his beloved's hair, just like an impassioned man, and for sure, sitting here, he wove the flowers that he picked with his own hands into his sweetheart's braid. Śrīla Swāmīpad's Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. Seeing the signs that indicated that that beautiful girl had been sitting on Krishna's lap, the Gopīs said, at this place, that lusty boy arranged the hair of that lusty girl. Certainly he sat there and placed the flower ornaments on the top of her braid. Śrīla Jīva Gosvāmīpad's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. Seeing a wreath of flowers fallen on the ground, the Vipaksha Sakis said again, sitting here, that lusty Krishna embellished the hair of that lusty girl. The word tu, furthermore, has been used to express a fresh consideration to the Gopis' previous conclusion. In some versions, he is found, meaning certainly. Kaminya kamina, the impassioned girl and boy. These two words are used in describing his decorating her hair. In other words, by arranging her hair, He enjoyed amorous play. This is one of the activities that a person in the heat of passion likes to do. Certainly at this place, that impassioned boy sat down to tie flowers in her hair. Just as a person sits to dress another person's hair, the same signs are seen. The same signs are seen here. Many times in the Nikunjas of Raj, the gopis had witnessed the way Krishna sat down to decorate Sri Radha's hair. So they surmise that this is what happened here. Srila Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. The signs here were evident that Ramani was sitting on Krishna's lap. Thus the Vipaksha gopis were again saying, Krishna embellished his sweetheart's hair in this place. We can understand that a forest goddess provided the comb and other items needed for decorating her hair. That Ramani is lusty and not a real lover. Otherwise, why else would she deceive her Priyasakis and come alone to a secluded place with her impassioned lover? Krishna himself is also overcome by desire and not a true lover. He doesn't even acknowledge our pain of separation. And in the fever of his passion, he abandoned all of us who have genuine love for him and carried that lusty girl over here. And on top of that, with his own hands, he picked flowers from which he fashioned a crown for her hair. This action demonstrates Krishna's subservient nature when he's intent on pleasing his sweetheart. For the sake of their pleasure and their intimate love play, it is for certain that they sat down here in this isolated place and completely under the control of lust. They engaged in amorous chit-chat while Krishna decorated his beloved. Reme taya chatmarata atma ramopyakandita kaminam darshayan dainyam strinam chaiva duratmatam. So we're going to end with this verse. O Parikshit, Bhagavan Śrī Kṛṣṇa, self-satisfied and infallible, is himself the source of his own pleasure. Thus, he cannot be attracted by the beauty of the feminine charms of alluring damsels. Yet, to reveal the pathetic condition of lusty men under the control of ladies and crafty women, Śrī Kṛṣṇa engaged in love play with the gopis. Śrīla Śrīdhara Swāmīpad's Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. Śrī Shukadeva has resumed his narration with this verse, Reme. Śrī Kṛṣṇa is self-satisfied, Svatmarata. He takes pleasure within himself. He takes pleasure within himself only, Atmarama. And he is infallible, not attracted by feminine charms, Akandita. If this is so, why did he engage in amorous dalliance? The answer is Kaminam, to expose the pathetic condition of lusty men and the deviousness of worldly women. Śrīla Jīva Gosvāmīpad's Vaiṣṇava. Śrī Shukadeva Goswami praised the Leela of Śrī Radha Krishna through the lips of the gopis. Now he himself glorified these pastimes in this and the next few verses. Śrī Kṛṣṇa enjoyed amorous activities with that Ramani, although he is Swatma Ratta, Atma Rama, and Akandita. Swatma Ratta, Swa means Anksha Rupa Vaibhav, direct pastime expansions of his transcendental potency. This refers to the goddess of fortune from Vaikuntha, and the very dear cowherd maidens, Krishna being their source, Ankshi. This is how he is complete in himself and has no expectations from others. Atmani, he is absorbed in himself, i.e., he is self-satisfied, Purnakam. Being Purnakam, he is completely absorbed in the bliss of his own Swarup. He does not need any second item for enjoyment, so he is Atmaram. He enjoyed with that Ramani, although he is Swatmarata and Atmaram. He completely ignored Lakshmi and all the beloved cowherd damsels, but by dallying with that Ramani, he increased his pleasure. What is the reason for this? The answer is found in the word Taya, with her, referring to that Ramani who is the highest abode of Krishna Prem. Tat is another form of Taya. He enjoyed with that Ramani. The use of this word by Shukadeva Goswami reveals his exceptional intelligence. Having spoken this after realizing the enormity of Radha's love as compared to the other beloveds. The word Taya, meaning she, in the original verse, ends in the third case. The revered commentator interprets the instrumental, the third case, as denoting causality. So the meaning is because of her. In other words, she is the cause for Krishna's leaving the Ras Mandal. In the original verse, the phrase Reme Taya Svatmarata is seen, but in some books, Chatmarata is used. The explanation of both is the same, but the phrase Atmarata cannot be taken as Atmaram. This would create the fault of redundancy. In the original verse, the word is Atmaram, yet the word Atmarata, Atma means self, and Rata means satisfied. This denotes Krishna's Purna Kamata, all his desires being fulfilled within. Chatmarata. Many gopis discuss the dalliance of Radha and Krishna in the previous verses. The letter Cha confirms that Krishna indeed enjoyed with Radha exactly as the gopis described. One might object that Śrī Kṛṣṇa also enjoys with the goddesses of fortune and the other cowherd maidens. The reply is this. Krishna is always akhandita, undivided in his enjoyment with Radha, when associating with Lakshmi and the beloveds of Vraj. And when associating with Lakshmi and the beloveds of Vraj, Krishna is khandita. His mind becomes distracted, and he remembers Radha, just as a khandita nayika remembers her lover while meeting with her husband. When he is with Radha, he is never khandita. His mind is never diverted to Lakshmi or others. Krishna has surrendered his whole being to Radha, accepting defeat in the face of her love. To be controlled by the love of his dear ones is his great attribute. This has been described in Sri Bhagavatamrita and elsewhere in many ways. Radha's prem is so powerful, Krishna, even while being Svatmarata, is controlled by her love, and Śrī Kṛṣṇa's prem is such that it overrides his Atmaramata. Worldly lusty men and women are devoid of real shelter and pure love, and such persons are defeated by the glories of Krishna's prem. The words kaminam darshayan in this verse have been spoken to explain this. Ordinary people have three defects. They end up producing stool and urine, their bodies are dependent on grains and water, and their nature is to satisfy their bodily cravings. These are the three defects. This verse bespeaks of the pathetic condition and misfortune of such impassioned persons. However, he who is Satchidananda Vigraha is self-satisfied. The words Kaminam Darshana do not apply to him, nor do they apply to his dear ones, who find their satisfaction in his pleasure. Strinam devious of worldly women, who display the three defects. This has not been said about the Satchidananda Vrajadevis, who live only to give pleasure to Śrī Kṛṣṇa. They are described in the forthcoming verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 32, verse Tabir Vidutta Shokabir. The Supreme Lord Achyuta was shining splendidly, encircled by the gopis, now freed from all distress. This shows the instinctive characteristic of the gopis, in whose hearts exceptional love arose for Krishna, even after he caused them to suffer in separation. But ordinary women have base natures. Intoxicated by, they become overjoyed in controlling passionate men. This is the meaning of Strinam. In the Dwarka pastimes, in answer to Krishna's joking words, Shri Rukmini says in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:60-45, O my Lord, a foolish woman who has not worshipped your transcendental lotus feet and who has never relished even one drop of the sweet honey issuing forth from them, accepts as her husband a mortal man whose body is a living corpse consisting inside of muscles, bones, blood, parasites, stool, mucus, bile, and air, and externally covered by skin, hair, whiskers, beard, nails, and bodily hairs. In this verse, Krishna's exceptional quality is described. Ya te padabja makarandam ijagrati stri. And that Ramani who spoke these words is also exceptional due to her ability to realize the exceptional sweetness emanating from his lotus feet. Again, to demonstrate more the pitiable condition of lusty men and the deviousness of ordinary women, two more verses are quoted. Darshaya dvido parajayam and sat sarasirodhara. The second verse is from Gopi Geet, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-2. So the next chapter, second verse of the next chapter. O Krishna, Lord of amorous love, you fulfill all desires. We are your unpaid maidservants, but you are killing us with the beauty of your glance, which demolishes the pride of the most beautiful, fully blossomed lotuses in an autumn pond. To kill like this by your glance, is this not considered murder in this world? These words were not uttered by any ill will towards Krishna. They spontaneously flowed from the lips of the Vraj Gopis, who are endowed with Mahabhav, and who are serving Krishna by delighting him with their unparalleled words full of ras. In this way, they increased his pleasure. These eloquent words, which flow from the hearts and not from mental deliberation, make Krishna's beauty and other attributes shine forth spontaneously. Krishna did not see even a speck of duplicity in the gopis. He is Swatma Rata and Atma Rama. His activities do not reflect any trace of the contemptuous behavior of materialistic, lusty persons. This is the only way to understand Krishna's conduct. It is Krishna's nature to be controlled by his devotees' love, but in the eyes of those averse to him, he appears to be driven by amorous passion. In Srimad Bhagavatam 9:4-64, Sri Narayan is saying, I love my devotees more than my own self. The Shastras present many other such statements affirming this. So I think I'm going to end here, and we can read this next. We can read Śrīla Vishnu Thakur's commentary tomorrow. Although tomorrow we have a reading for Shiksha class, so might not get around to it. Anyhow, all right. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhar Giridhari, Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shila Guru Dev Ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shishimar Shila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashatarashata Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashatarashata Shishmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashatarashata Shishmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Śrīla Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vaiṣṇava Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jīva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Nama Chashla Haridas Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Prem se Kaho Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pirata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kund Ki Jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharaj Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Rāsa-pañcādhyayī Ki Jai. Shri Granth Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Sarva Vrajadevi Gan Ki Jai. Shri Raseshri Shri Vishwabhanu Nandini Srimati Radha Ṭhakurani Ki Jai. Shri Rajendra Nandan Sham Sundar Shri Krishna Chandra Ki Jai. Shri Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Om Nande Hari Hari Om Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyaya Keshava Shtat Krishna Bhakti Pradati Sattvataya Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nam Devi Prabhu Sharmati, everybody there. So I think what I will do is I will record a very short video today and I'll make that video go live just to not break our streak. But yeah, tomorrow I'm doing a Rupa Shiksha class. So it will be a very short reading. Maybe I'll just read for like 15 minutes or something like that. All right, Hari Bol, everybody. Oh wait, let's look at what's coming up now. Kartik begins in 7 days. Oh my God, exactly a week from now. And then the appearance of Madhvacharya begins in 3 days. Then Akadashi is in 4 days. The disappearance day of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is in 5 days. And then, yeah, Kartik's 7 days from now. Disappearance day of my Param Gurudev in 7 days. And then after that, Srila Narottam Das Thakur is in a couple weeks from now, his disappearance day. Wow. All right. See you all tomorrow. Dandavat pranams, everybody.